From Jonathan Turley, ACLU official attacks university for admitting Nick Sandmann while professor promises to monitor his conduct. What conduct? I tell you, man, there ain't no rest for the wicked, but apparently there ain't no rest for people who literally did nothing either. Nick Sandmann, you know who he is? He's a kid who was wearing a MAGA hat and he was standing still. That's it. And lo and behold, they will not let him rest. They don't care. Now, look, I get it. Nick Sandmann did go and speak at the RNC, but come on, the kid literally did nothing. And they want to monitor his conduct now? They're going to chase him around and try and destroy his life because they were wrong. That is not a country I would want to live in. I don't know or care about who this kid is or what he's doing. He's a kid, okay? Even if this is the story where the Native American guy walked up to him banging the drum, and then, he was standing there like, I don't know what's going on. And then everybody dragged him, and now he's winning a bunch of lawsuits or settling a bunch of lawsuits. I guess he's winning them. They're going to come after him, and they're going to try and destroy his life just because his existence slighted them. Think about this. Did he do anything to the left? No. Did he say anything mean to this man? Nope. What did he do? Nothing. They put a camera on him and they said, you bend your knee and you be our scapegoat. You be the pariah. And he still didn't do anything. It was people like me and people like Robbie Suave who called out the media's lies on the Covington scandal. And they're mad about it. And they're going to take it out on him. Here's what Jonathan Turley writes. He says, I have previously written as a long supporter of the ACLU about my concern over how the venerable group has changed under its recent leadership, including a departure from its long, robust defense of free speech. I literally agree with that. Yeah, I completely agree. Recently, the ACLU has abandoned its famed neutrality and has not supported some on the right while supporting those on the left. Now, the ACLU's Samuel Crankshaw in Kentucky has targeted Transylvania University for admitting Nick Sandmann, who was falsely accused of abusing a Native American activist in front of a Lincoln Memorial. In front of Lincoln Memorial. Despite various media organizations correcting the story and some settling with Sandmann, some in media have continued to attack him. Yet it is far more alarming to see an ACLU official rallying people against a young man whose chief offense appears to be that he is conservative and unapologetic. Crankshaw went to Facebook to alert people that Sandmann would be attending the college and expressing veiled outrage that the school would admit someone with his opposing views. He warns that this kid is more dangerous than figures like Milo Yiannopoulos. The danger is that a young freshman holds conservative views that are shared by roughly half the country. How is that more dangerous than Milo Yiannopoulos? Milo Yiannopoulos literally calls himself dangerous. But this kid who is just standing still, these people are nuts. Here's the quote, apparently. Does anyone else think it's a bit of a stain on the Transylvania University for accepting Nick Sandmann? I'm sure it's a both sides defense, but it's pretty counter to their mission and another instance of there not actually being equal sides to an issue. I think Transylvania University should accept anyone willing to have an open mind and engage in debate, regardless of their views. That's how we all learn. That's Transy's mission. Having experienced the incredible high standards Transy requires, for admission and then holds its students to, this seems like a slap in the face. I hope sometime in a real classroom changes him, but his Twitter and public persona suggest otherwise. What persona? The kid's not particularly active. He goes on, Jonathan Turley says, the both sides defense used to be the position of the ACLU in fighting for all sides to be given equal opportunities and protections. Moreover, Crankshaw labels Sandmann a provocateur in training with no intention of learning. Putting aside the provocateur label, how would Crankshaw know that Sandmann has no intention of learning? One person responding was Dr. Avery Tompkins, an assistant professor and diversity scholar at Transylvania University, acknowledged that the university supported diverse viewpoints, but promised to closely monitor Sandmann while he's on campus. If he were to cause problems by being disruptive, trolling, or engaging in unethical behavior of any kind, I would immediately document it, just like I would for any student doing the same thing. And he would just be putting himself in a position for me to file a conduct report. Doing the same thing. What thing? Free speech? It's not even that. We're talking about some kind of insane far left morality or moral system. They've already talked about punishing you for the sins of the father. Remember that guy? He's a NASCAR driver. His dad said the N-word in the 80s, so he lost a sponsor Like it was like a year or two ago, he actually lost a sponsor because his dad said something in the 80s. Oh, come on. For real? Yeah. Well, they won't just hold you to a standard based on what your parents did. They will make up slights you did and hold you to that standard too. How would you like to live in that world where you're sitting there minding your own business, somebody gets in your face and screams, and you go, and then they scream at you, hey, how dare you? And you're like, I don't know what I did. And they're like, lock him up. They want to cancel Nick Sandmann because he literally did nothing. No, for real. He's supposed to get on his knees and beg and apologize, but he didn't do anything. So what's he supposed to apologize for? And that's where this gets particularly dangerous. You want to talk about real danger? First, we've seen many people blindly accept overt racist ideology like spineless morons. You may have seen the video that's been going viral where you have this morbidly obese woman saying that white people are inhuman and are born demons. And I'm watching this video like, how are all these white people sitting there going like, oh, really? Yes, that's right. I am not a human being. Grow a spine, dude. Speak up. Well, then you actually have these people go after you for actual past slights. They say things like, here's what you did. You must apologize for it. Well, I get it if you want to apologize for something you actually did wrong, although we're at a point now where apologizing doesn't do anything. It might be pointless. But now they're bringing us to a new tier of absurdity. Now they are going to demand an apology for you doing literally nothing. They will just accuse you. They'll make it up, and then they'll try and ruin your life. That's where we're headed. I mean, we've already seen false accusations of many people in the past in a variety of issues, namely like assault on college campuses. But they're bringing us to a new level. You're our enemy because we said so. Bend the knee or else. Turley goes on to say, rather than say that there is no reason why this conservative student should be singled out in this way, Tompkins declares publicly, quote, I get where you are coming from. Where would that be? It's Crankshaw. Is it Crankshaw? I thought it was Crankshaw. It is Crankshaw. Okay, it's a typo. Crankshaw was coming from a place where a wrongly accused conservative teenager will be harassed or targeted for daring to take his views to a college. I appreciate Tompkins noting that students cannot be denied admission based on their political views, though that was once assumed. Yet Tompkins labels this incoming freshman as part of an anti-intellectual movement and publicly assumes that Sandmann will reject core principles of learning. This is a freshman being publicly shredded by a professor at his school. Tompkins then expresses the same uncertainty. Why the student would pick a university dedicated to higher education and the, quote, antithesis of what he believes and promotes. You know what? No, I actually agree with that. Why are you sending your kids to these schools? Seriously, why? Stop giving these universities money and stop putting your kids in these institutionalized learning facilities where we know that they have fringe curriculums that have that give kids crazy ideas about life. Not only that, I'm assuming based on the settlements that he's won, he's probably got some cash, so maybe he can easily afford this, but why waste your money on this stuff? What are you going to this college for, dude? Nick Sandmann, you should not be doing this. Start a business. Go do hard work. Go work at some job, become an apprentice, and learn a skill. Unless, like, I guess, if he wants to be like a scientist or an academic, I do not understand the reasoning behind all of these people wanting to go to colleges, particularly conservatives wanting to go to these colleges, where the joke right now is that when you're sitting in calculus, they're complaining about white privilege. If that's the case, stop going. You're giving them money. Why? It empowers them, and the money goes into these professors' pockets, which they use to then push these fringe ideologies. Now, I think there are good professors at many universities, and you can probably find them. You got to be, specific in what you're looking for. But I just don't get why so many people are going to complain about schools. I think schools are broken and terrible, and then send their kids there anyway or actively choose to go. This is a perfect example. How could you possibly function when you're going to a university where they make you the issue, where they criticize you, they didn't even know you, and you didn't even do anything wrong? I'll tell you what, man. Maybe I'm biased. I never finished high school. I'm a high school dropout. Yeah. I'm doing all right for myself. I think the smarter play for all conservatives and for everybody, to be completely honest, liberals especially, is to find something and start building. When you are young and you stay with your parents, how about instead of building up massive debt, you start exploring the world and figuring out what you can do to better the lives of other people? Take an internship or an apprenticeship, even work at a fast food restaurant, work at a regular restaurant. Learn how to manage a business. Go to the manager and say, I would like to spend time here learning from you free of charge. I will help you out. I'll be a gopher. It's called being an intern. Then you'll actually learn how a business is run, how taxes are calculated, and you will be a million times more successful than these kids who go to college and come out with massive debt and then have no idea what they're going to do. I mean, think about real world skills for one. So I'm reminded of the story of an NBA player. I think it was with the Bulls in the 90s. And he went to a Wendy's and asked the manager to teach him everything he knew. And the manager was stoked and was like, yeah, now the dude is wealthy and owns a bunch of Wendy's franchise locations. Think about practical application. I get it. Everybody wants to do something, really, really great. But to do something great, you have to figure it out and build it yourself. So I'm not saying you should work at a restaurant. You can go anywhere. You can ask anybody. I'm sure there's somebody in your neighborhood who knows a guy who does mason work or cementing and landscaping. And this guy can teach you a lot about filing taxes, getting loans, working with banks, doing work, hiring employees. That's the kind of thing you actually need to know. And you're not going to get that at school when you're spending your time in gender studies class or in history class, which now has apparently become gender studies. I get it. I'm sure this kid, Nick Sandmann, has found something he wants to study at Transylvania University. And at the end of the day, the universities should not be this ridiculous. But my advice, don't go to college. Unless you're absolutely sure you know what you want to do and college is required for it. You want to be a lawyer? Okay, go to college. You want to be a doctor? Yeah, go to college. You want to be a teacher? That I get. Go to college. You want to work in academia, like in these universities? That's where you go. You want to do literally anything else? You want to have a family and just succeed? Learn a skill. Go to trade school. Learn how to do something practical. Nobody needs do we really need more, geologists? No offense, geologists. I think you do a great job. But I have friends who are in the sciences who have no idea what to do and they have no real world skills. If you want to just be successful, then here's what I'd recommend. Pick up these studies as a hobby and find a practical application. Find practical application for a real skill. Because right now, I'll tell you what, I was trying to get a mini ramp built last year and it was impossible because contractors were booked up for months. I ended up ordering a prefab ramp, which was more expensive. And then it's just, you just drill in and it's really easy to do. But man, if I could have found someone who could have done it, that would have been more money in that person's pocket, but they were booked up. There's jobs you can do. You don't need to go to college. You just got to figure it out. You can start your own, carpentry business, expand, hire people, and eventually you'll own a major construction company. It just starts with you deciding to be the pioneer, to be the person who wants to land on empty shores and build that first house and go find food on your own. Don't expect someone to give it to you. And my other recommendation is don't take debt to try and figure it out either. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up tomorrow at 10 a.m. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all next time.